Hello, I'm Matthew McQuagge with CattleFax Closing Bell. Today's Closing Bell is brought to you by the American Gelbvieh Association. The latest cattle on feed report showed the lowest on-feed inventories to start the year since 2017. Placements in 2025 were down 1.49 million head from 2024 levels as the tight domestic cow and calf supply was compounded by the lack of Mexican feeder imports. Since the southern border first shut down in November of 2023, we have missed out on an estimated 1.44 million head of calf and feeder imports, with a large part of these animals coming across as lightweight calves that were grazed before going on feed. This helps explain the year-over-year gap in feed yard placements that started to widen in the second half of 2025. And while this does suggest that there are still Mexican feeders present in our supply chain, we should work through those supplies by mid-2026. Circling back to the cattle on feed report, this data set provides placement inventories by weight class, giving us an implied harvest supply. To no surprise, Texas continues to lead the harvest supply decline looking ahead, as the lack of feeder imports have had the greatest impact on fed supplies there. Currently, only Kansas is maintaining a placed against supply above year-ago levels, though that will likely change starting in February. Looking ahead, placed against supply suggests a year-over-year harvest decline of around 35,000 head per week. A further widening is expected in the second quarter, though this will likely be partially offset by moderately increased carryover. Regardless, annual fed slaughter is expected to see further declines in 2026, and as increasing domestic fed supplies are still at least a couple years away, any trend changes here in the short term will have to come from a reopening of the southern border, a decision itself which remains unclear in terms of timing. Turning to this week's markets, the fed cattle market saw strong performance this week as the packer was forced to chase a limited supply. Moderate trade volumes were noted in the north at 238 to 241 live and 375 to 385 dressed. This is $5 firmer live compared to the prior week. Moderate trade in the south at 238 to 240 live, which again is roughly $5 higher than last week. After last week's drop and recovery, the live cattle futures complex chopped around sideways this week. February live cattle are trading near 235.50 at the time of recording, a 50-cent increase from last week. Feeders trended mostly firmer this week, though a sharp decline was noted today, leaving the March feeder cattle contract near 358.50, a net decline of $1.50 from last Friday. The feeder cattle index was quoted at 366.69 on Thursday, a weekly improvement of $1 per hundredweight. Thanks for watching, and remember to visit CattleFax.com to become a member and receive the latest market news and analysis.